I've become a fully qualified social media therapist. And this is because people tend to come at me with a really big secret. And some of you have already done this today, actually. So you say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why we're so bad at it. We don't know what we're doing. We don't understand it. We know what we want, but for some reason, it's just not working. So today, we're going to expose everything. I'm not going to use jargon. I'm just going to give you my confession so that we can have a bit of a group therapy session. And hopefully, my confessions will help you kind of, start to navigate the big bad world of social media. Because, and I don't really get applauded for saying this in this industry, it's not that hard. So my first confession, social media is easy. So why do we find it so hard, and why are so many people still saying they don't get it? So I think the answer to this is kind of in the room already. We tend to think that because social media is on a computer, it's technical, there are formulas involved, social media, the rules are digital. We look for easy tactics, and we're surrounded by technical solutions to getting what we want. So if you do this set of things in this order, you'll get more follows, you'll get more likes, you'll get more sign-ups. But actually, I see lots of people basing social media strategies without recognizing the one true thing that's at the core of social media, that social media is social. So this isn't to say that the technical stuff isn't important. Loads of my clients will tell you that I'm a geek. I like the data stuff too. I think the science is really important. We need to be able to measure, and especially when it comes to scale. But actually, I think social media has at its base social interactions. That's why we love it. That's why you all are on Facebook, right? You're all on Facebook? No. You're lying. But I think this is also why we tend to find it difficult, because we forget that we intrinsically know how to use social media because we've been practicing our whole lives. So let me give you an example of what I mean. We all know this situation. You're probably really, really familiar with it in your own organizations. So we, as the person walking down the street, we're doing everything we can to kind of avoid it. So you pretend to be on your phone, right? Or you divert, or you just look down. You're doing everything to avoid this interaction. Meanwhile, that person is doing everything they can. They're waving, they're smiling, they're shouting questions at you. And as a result, even if you like the charity, you're unlikely to stop. And even if you have stopped, that interaction, it wasn't genuine, it was forced. And there's negative emotion there. Now let me give you another example. This scenario is different because you're in the pub. Say you've met up with a friend, and the friend happens to mention a cause that they're volunteering for. So you start asking questions because you know each other. You're on a level where you can share interests, and they're talking about something that they volunteer for. And because they know you, when you ask a question, the things that they answer with appeal to your interests because there's a history to the relationship. And you've also asked genuine questions. Now imagine that the friend actually now has a vested interest in you buying into the cause. So what are they going to do? They're not doing anything inappropriate. They're not walking you out the door to start volunteering straight away. And they're not going to make you sign up now. but they might give you another action, like a video to watch or a website to visit. And because of how genuine that interaction was, you're more likely to take action and come back to it and ultimately buy into the cause. So the big differences, so I've already kind of touched on some of the big differences, but it's important to note that environment was different. So in one of those scenarios, one was social, the other was intrusive. And then there's context. So as I said, there's history to a relationship with your friend in the pub. The other guy on the street is going in completely cold. And with that context, we're able to be given permission to introduce your interest to someone else. And that is, in social media terms, that permission is something like a like or a follow or a sign up. And this is, again, and this comes down to trust as well. So that because you've been granted permission, you've gained trust to be able to introduce into that conversation the things that you want to talk about, not just what the other person wants to talk about. Because we know, as social beings, how conversations work. We know that as a good friend, you're going to go with the flow a bit. You're not going to try and dominate it. You're not going to control it. You're certainly not going to put your own agenda onto it. No, I don't want to go to that yet. And this is really important when it comes to social media, because we can't control conversations. So people are going to react in unpredicted ways. So going back to these scenarios, so if we recognize that the big difference is the history to the relationship, that's where, as the really clever guys this morning were talking about, the research comes in. So this is the deep research, the things about learning how to create your voice, learning where your audience hang out, who they are, what they talk, who else they talk to, and this is a kind of mini confession that I'm going to make, that I'm a stalker. So I stalk people like this: influencers, journalists, competitors, clients. Yeah, so that's where the clever bit comes in. But as a result of these conversations and the kind of changing directions, I'm not in control. And it's really important, this bit is really important for organizations, because you're not in control either. And I think this is a scary part for businesses, because it's a bit like when you plan out a conversation in your head, you know how it's going to go, you've got this kind of idea of what the other person's going to say. And when you get into the room, those things completely disappear. You suddenly no plan. Well, actually, that's what social media is like. And it means that things are definitely going to go wrong. So that's just a random like to remind you that I'm talking about social media. Yeah, so things will definitely go wrong. At some point, someone, just like in real life, someone is going to misinterpret you, or they're going to just not like you, and they'll have a platform to tell everyone about it, and to tell all their friends, which is the like. So it's really important to have a reactive strategy, because it's definitely, this isn't a when it goes wrong. This isn't an if, this is a when. So, oh God, while I can't predict the future, and I really hate being called a social media guru, by the way. And you will need some of the scientists to help you with that. I think this is the really exciting part of social media, because it's the part where your audience can actually help to shape your message. So you may have a plan for a campaign, but actually the audience have started to talk about something else. And what this shows us is opportunities. This might be a completely new area that we haven't discovered yet. And for the first time ever, I think this gives us an insight into a really, really important insight into what people want to hear and what they respond to. But also, beyond marketing and social media, this can help shape the way you run your business, which I think is really cool. And another exciting part for us particularly, and some people will need to cover their ears, size does matter, but luckily for you, small is actually better. Now this can sound counterintuitive to business planning, which is so often about expansion and growth and scalability. But actually, a smaller, more engaged community is going to be more beneficial to you than a really large, unengaged audience. So if you've done your content target properly, and you know what people are interested in, and you know where they are, and you know how to talk to them, and you've got your voice, you're unlikely to appeal to 1 million people. But that's okay, because you might appeal to 10 to 50,000 or maybe even 100,000. And they're the ones that will take action. This is your community. So be focused, be exclusive, and develop that unique voice. And this counts for social media platforms as well. So don't just jump on 10 and just for the sake of it. Find out where your audience are and go to them. Take them to the pub because that's where they want to hang out. Because doing social media without this research is a bit like talking to a random person on the street. It's antisocial. So yeah, that's my last confession, but I actually added one more that isn't here. That me personally, I was forced to go on Twitter. I had a friend that was saying, "This thing is amazing. You'll just love it. This is so you," and it took me a while to get into it. And the reason I share that story is because that reluctance to kind of take the plunge and get involved, I think is universal. And I think it's useful for us to think about it because no matter how much people that are part of that exclusive club, which is social media, tells you how great it is, it's actually really scary to walk into a room that you don't know and just start talking. But if you remember that actually the rules are social before they're digital, then you'll be fine and it'll be worth it. So yeah, that was my last thing. I just wanted to say that I'm here with Kirsty. Where is she? She's over there. From Luminous, and we're offering something for everyone here today if you want to talk strategy from a social content communications side. So yeah.